So, you want to learn about the MD5 iceberg? Well, I do too. Let's dive right in. MD5. MD5 is one of the characters in my animations, and he wears a blue shirt. He also wears light blue boots, and like some other characters, his boots are a different color than his body. Ivan. Ivan is MD5's closest friend, and he is usually the secondary character in the animations. He first appeared in Spin 3, but if we look at the description of the video, it shows a webcomic link. More on that later. Fun fact, his boots actually match the color of his body. Yeah, I know. MD5 Official. What started as a small gaming channel eventually became a good animation channel that still makes animations to this day. MD5's Discord. The current Discord server has lots of fun activities for people to do. You can share funny videos, make cool art, make cool fan art, and more. Alright, that pretty much wraps up Layer 1. Time to go deeper. Red. First debuting from Spaced Out, Red is the first character with the tie on his shirt and one of the first characters to work directly under Ivan. More on that later. The Group House. The Group House was a house in Small Dance 3 that some of the dancing took place in. And in the background is a picture referencing a previous animation I made. The house got blown up after. Gray. Gray is the first character I made with glasses, and he is inspired by his skin from the rhythm game Beat Blog. He isn't important now, but will be later in the story. He also hates Ivan, I guess, but I haven't really fully explained that yet, so let's move on. Green. Green is one of the 5 officers that work directly under Ivan. He has a tie like Red does, but also has an eye patch, which will be important later. They are all friends. This is just a main timeline thing that we don't have to worry about right now, but the main thing that proves this is that in the animation community, we can see Gray and Red sitting next to each other, which would be unlikely in the story timeline, since in the story timeline, Gray hates the other officers and vice versa. Alright, we're done with Layer 2. Now it's time for the good stuff. Spaced Out webcomic. Spaced Out is a webcomic I made because I wanted to put my characters into a story that takes place in space. The comic introduced Ivan, and Red as well. Gray and Green were introduced from the main animations, not Spaced Out. The 5 officers. The 5 officers are special individuals that work directly under Ivan and have different roles and abilities. We've met Red and Green before, but there's still 3 more that I still haven't fully revealed yet, with Blue only being shown once. Intercoms. Intercoms is one of the channels in my Discord server, and the main reason why I made 2 alt accounts pretending to be Ivan and Red, so that we could all talk together, do silly things, and maybe even mention lore too. Me and My Friend, Volume 1. In episode 8 of Spaced Out, Ivan wants to prove that he's seen MD5 before. He sees a tape of him and MD5 together and watches it. And in this photo, it references a main timeline screenshot, but the events play out further from the animation Self-Love, where we can see them talking to each other in the tape, which wasn't in the original animation. Spin Series. On June 4, 2023, I would upload a video named spin.mp4. In the video, MD5 spins into a clockwise motion for 30 seconds, and that became a series, with the 5th entry being uploaded on April Fools. Hey, thanks for sticking around so far. So, you ready for more? Alright. Goofy Odd News. Like Spin Series, Goofy Odd News is also a series I made, but it focuses mainly on memes and my hyperfixations at the time. In it, there is a car reporter that talks about random things, and in one episode, my OC appeared as well. The series started in April of 2023 and continued up to 2024. Red's Red Hands. When I drew Red for the first time, I made a character card for him showing facts about him, but if you look at his early design, he had red hands that were different from the rest of the cast. In Small Dance 3, it was the only time that Red had these hands, then they were never seen again. In January of 2026, however, I made Green's character card, where we can see that Red's hands were probably some type of glove. Green's design got changed though, removing his gloves and changing his boot color. Ivan and MD5 are brothers. During the events of Spaced Out, there are subtle hints to this theory becoming a reality, with the most obvious one being at the very end of episode 11. Okay, now we can start getting to the obscure stuff. I hope you're prepared. Two timelines. There are 2 timelines, one of them being the main timeline, which is where my animations take place, and which is where everyone is friends with each other and does random things. The other timeline is a story timeline, which is where my webtoon Spaced Out takes place in, and is a timeline responsible for lore. Showcase is an anomaly. In the animation showcase, every character introduces themselves and we get to see them. But there is one major problem with this. MD5 is on the ground while they are on the ship, which is evidence of the main timeline merging with the story one, which would be very bad if left unchecked. MD5 version 1.0. When I first started drawing MD5, I used to draw him really fat, which stayed for a bit until I made his body more like a circle and finally a vertical oval that you see today, which has been applied to others as well. Red has blue blood. If we go back to Red's character card, we can see that one of the bullet points is him having blue blood. I was thinking of making a scene where he bleeds some of it, but I never did. I'm impressed, really, to think you'd watch this far into the video. Enough talk, let's do this. Green's backstory. Before he joined forces with Ivan, Green was a pirate ship captain with a good crew to help him. They traveled across the seas, but on one fated day, Green lost everything. Washed up on a beach, he looked up and saw Ivan, and Ivan promised him power if he worked under him. Connect the Dots. Connect the Dots is an animated series I made where a line simply connects all of the dots in each animation, with each new entry in the series having new gimmicks. The third one ended on a cliffhanger though, and there has been no new entry since. The Sixth Officer. In Spaced Out, Ivan didn't always have 5 officers. You see, before the Great War, he had 6 officers, with the 6th one being Officer Gray. Officer Gray did many things, but Ivan saw more in the others, which made Gray feel unappreciated, and ultimately made him leave the group during the end of the war. Carl and Bob. A long time ago, I made a video with 2 balls talking to each other, and you could consider these 2 my first true OCs, but I haven't used them since. Alright, time for layer set. You know what actually? I'm super burnt out. Instead, we're going to do a bonus round. The creator is, well, the god of the MD5 universe, and he has created every character as well as the 2 timelines themselves. He needed help managing the timeline, so he made the Overseer, a powerful being that knows plenty about time. Together, they maintain the timelines and stop disasters. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out my other videos as well. I've had lots of fun making this video, and it was going to be longer, but I'm also very tired from making it, so I hope you have a good day.